hear us in the back.
Hey everybody, welcome to FMTV Weekly. I always forget the name of the stinking show. I am Peter Brown, and of course, as always, I am joined by my co-host, Uncle Ed. Hey Ed.
Peter, how's it going, man? Gosh, man, I'm excited to talk. What do we talk about, man? Because there's like no soccer going on.
There's
It's
nothing,
crazy, Peter.
But
Yeah.
but there's stories behind the stories. We can still find stuff to talk about. So, join us, everybody. Come on in. The chat room is live, and we're looking forward to. Andres Hoyos is already in. We're waiting for you guys. We'll give you a couple minutes before we kind of dig in. But yeah, there's not a lot going on. But at the same time, there's kind of some stuff going on, Ed. There's with this whole thing that we're all going through. It's starting to affect a lot of different elements of the game, and so we could definitely talk about some of that stuff this week. So it should still be fun. And look, we are your outlet right now. Right now, you guys don't have a whole lot of soccer going on, or any soccer, unless you're playing on FIFA, and that's one thing we should talk about as well this week.
That is one of the things.
Yeah,
that is one of the cool things. Well, the team is starting to do stuff, trying to keep us busy, I guess. Trying to keep us still involved, and that's something that you were mentioning last week. You were like, they're not doing anything, but now they're starting to do it. I think they heard you, Peter.
I think they might have heard us. Yeah, I think maybe they're listening. That's good. Yeah. Well, hey, at the end of the day, we know that people at Inter Miami do listen and do watch. We know that for a fact because we walk into their offices and we've got a few fans there. They're not necessarily all the decision makers, but we know that people within the organization definitely watch. And so I think,
especially now that there's nothing to do, there's no soccer going about. So, but there's all these new developments that are happening now. And like you said, let's wait for a few more people to get in before we start digging in. We start going in that, and that's probably one of the reasons why we've got that title for today's show. It's a mad world.
Yeah, I mean, it is a mad world. I just isn't that from a song, Ed?
It sure is. Tears for Fears. It's a mad world. But somebody came up with a remake recently that now now people in this generation have they've heard about that song now. But
and how is the remake? How I mean, it's funny. I was watching a completely different story. I was watching a teenage girl movie a little bit today with my daughter and my wife, and it's like, what is it called? P.S. to all the boys I love, or something like that.
Right.
But they're playing Girls Want to Have Fun, right? But it's a remake of Girls Want to Have Fun. That song from Cyndi Lauper is very upbeat, and happy, right?
Right.
Oh, this was a depressing song. You would have loved it, Ed. It's depressing. It's right up your alley.
Oh man, that's awesome, dude. Well, because they're starting to do that. They're starting to bring back songs from back in the '80s, back from your day, which is the '70s.
No. And yes.
Well,
and yes.
Well, and they're
half.
Remaking the songs. Some of them sound they sound good, but I still have nostalgia for the old songs. Like the Tears for Fears song that we're talking about right now. I recently put it on my Facebook, and then today you're asking me what title should we put. I'm like, dude, it's a mad world.
There you go.
And I think that came out in the Planet of the Apes as well. I don't know if you remember that movie, Planet of the Apes with Charlton Heston.
I remember the movie. I don't remember that quote.
See, they've made remakes for everything. They even remade Planet of the Apes, man. That's crazy.
And now the interesting thing, Disney owns that.
Well, they're gonna probably remake it another time now because they already had a trilogy going.
Since Disney bought Fox, they now own Planet of the Apes.
They do, man. They know it. They own everything, man.
Next thing you know, we're gonna have a theme park. You're gonna be able to go in, and you're gonna be able to go into the land of the Planet of the Apes. Watch that. All right, that's another show. Cool. That's gonna be my next show. But I'm gonna have to find someone else to do it with because Ed won't has no interest in that.
I don't know. Maybe if we can start talking about comic books or something like that.
I'm into that too.
Related.
I'm into
Disney
that too.
Owns, a lot of comic books now. So
yeah. All right, Ed. Well, why don't you do me a favor and welcome some of the people that are in the chat.
Well, guys, now it's starting to get packed, Peter. That's pretty cool. We mentioned Andres Hoyos. He was the first one that was in here. One world, one goal. Saludos to you. Eric Thomas, Judge Dredd the Law. Jason Weiss is here. Who else? Udo05 TV. And let's see who else we got here. Boriculano.
Glad you said that.
Huh?
I'm glad you said that, not me.
Yeah, man. I thought it was something else. It said some other thing like a bad word in Spanish, but no,
I just wouldn't be able to pronounce it.
Oh, it would have been funner if you would have done it then. But yeah, that's so far the people that have showed up. At least that they've left a message on the chat. You guys, if you have any questions, please leave us questions on the chat. You could still call in too, Peter.
Yeah, let me throw that number up on the screen. Yeah, so if you want to have your voice heard, I mean, obviously we'll read your chats, but if you want your voice to be heard, call in 786-474-4435. I still don't have that number memorized.
Yeah, we're gonna eventually have it memorized because I had the same. I had to look it up as well because, dude, I don't even know my own phone number. You know, definitely don't know yours.
Well, yeah, same here. I don't know mine either.
Sometimes I forget my name too, and mine's pretty easy. There's only 2 letters in it.
No, when we used to do the old blog talk show, I mean, I had that number memorized, so it's only a amount of time before we memorize this one as well. But you know, it'll happen. But all right, welcome everybody. And before we get started, let's thank our sponsor, Caneswear. Go to caneswear.com right now. During this situation we're all going through, Caneswear, the store, unfortunately, is closed, which is the safe and responsible thing to do. Yeah. But you could get all your best gear at caneswear.com. Use this week's promo code FMTV. Save yourself 10%. And so, you know, and I just had a conversation with Caneswear today, and so we're going to continue this relationship with us. So that's good news. So you want to help us and help our show, help our sponsors. And really, and what's important too is just supporting a local business. You know, one of the fun things about going into this store that'll be fun once everything calms down and once we can go back into the store, Ed, is that this is kind of a sports store where you go in and you end up staying there for 30, 40 minutes, maybe an hour, just talking sports with these guys and gals behind the cash register and all that. So it's kind of like a fun place to go. You'll get your gear, plus you'll end up having a conversation. And with these guys, they're still learning about soccer, so you'll get to go in there and educate them. It's kind of fun.
They've got so much a variety of different sports and stuff that you guys could buy there. So definitely, you know, you don't go do the responsible thing. Don't go right now, but you can go online.
Go online.
And you can get just about everything. And we have a new promo code too, Peter.
Yeah.
I just noticed.
Yeah, FMTV. So each week we put in a new promo code just so that you know, they could kind of track stuff like that. So yeah, it helps them out. But yeah, so go there. One World, One Gold said they had some cool socks on Twitter. Yeah, so you know, if you want University of Miami gear, I mean, that's the rest of the store. Right. I mean, they've got a nice section for Inter Miami, a bigger section for Inter Miami than the other stores I've seen, but also their section is gigantic. But I did. The funny thing is, I was in there one day and somebody came in asking for Gators stuff, and they're like, "Sorry." So they're really dedicated to those schools or clubs or teams that they support. So it's not like you're ever seeing anything for Orlando in there, which is good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, all right. So, Ed.
Peter, tell me, where do we start, Peter? Where do we start?
Well, let's start off with the little tournament that happened this weekend. I know you were watched some of it, I think. This was a tournament, and I had it here. It was called Stream Aid 2020 that MLS took a part in, and every team in MLS participated. It was a 12-hour online soccer tournament on Twitch, and I think they had all kinds of people on there playing, but Inter Miami guys got to play. It was Lewis Morgan, Lee Win, Pizarro, and Julian Carranza. So those guys all played. And what did you see, Ed?
Oh man, it was pretty cool because the person that we thought that was gonna win didn't win, and that's Morgan. Morgan was kicking butt, man. He I guess he played earlier 2 games in a row and he won them, and it looked like he basically had it in the bag. He had beat Pizarro earlier. He beat, who else did he beat? He beat Carranza. Um, and who I thought was going to be probably the best one, Carranza, because he's the youngest one. But I guess he wasn't as good as we thought. And it also I think had to do with the team that they played with. Some of the top team I guess is France. So Morgan used France and he won. And then later on, when he played the final, which was Pizarro and Morgan, he didn't play with France. He played with Belgium, and he lost. I think Pizarro played with England. Probably sucking up to Mister his boss Beckham.
So what I heard when I say I heard, what I read on MLSsoccer.com is that Morgan was crying foul a little bit. He didn't know apparently you could switch teams. So he was playing with France and he was kicking butt with France, and then one of the who was it, Pizarro, that switched to play France as well, and so it was a France versus France game or something like that, right?
No, it was France versus England. It was. I think he played against. I think it was.
Yeah. Okay. Here it is. So Pizarro started off in the first game that he played. He played as Belgium.
Yeah.
And then he got his beat by Lewis Morgan, who was playing as France. So he smartened up and switched teams, and then he played as France against Lee Win, and then obviously he won. 3-1, and then Lee Win smartened up as well, and he chose France too, and it was tied with Carranza. So, and then eventually it was Pizarro versus Carranza, where Pizarro was France again, and Pizarro was England. But the thing, Morgan was complaining that he didn't know that you were allowed to switch teams, and so here these guys are like catching on to what he's doing. And he's like, hey, this doesn't seem right.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was kind of funny because what's his name? Lee.
Yeah.
He had the setup, man. He had the seat. He had the headset. He was like,
he was into it.
He's a gamer, man. Yeah. And it turns out that he's good, but not in FIFA. He's he plays other video games. So he had the whole setup, the seat, and everything. But like I said, he's better at other games, not FIFA, and it kind of showed,
Yeah.
I think everybody expected him, since he had all the gear and stuff, that he was going to kick some butt, and I didn't think Pizarro was that good, to tell you the truth. I thought Morgan was just going to destroy it, because I saw him in the first two games, and he just he was a comeback kid, man. They'd score on him. Second half, it was all him.
Nice.
It's like I thought he was only playing around with them. He'd let them score a goal, and then he'd make the comebacks.
Yeah.
And he'd win. He beat Lee, and he beat Carranza.
Oh, so Lee Win was also didn't realize you could switch teams, because that was the quote. I thought we had to stick to one team question, Lee Win. So he didn't know you could switch teams either. But
I don't think the organizer didn't tell them exactly
what
the rules was. Yeah. So I think they were weighing in. I think next time, from this experience, they're going to learn, to ask these questions before, so they can get in there and make a difference. But, then there was Pizarro, who, he actually picked England.
Yeah.
Against, who did he play against? France, I think. No, Belgium. England against Belgium in the final with Morgan and he won, man. He he picked England, I think Pizarro did, because of Beckham's, he's trying to show off the boss, I think. Yeah.
Lee Win had said this was the best game of football he's ever seen England play.
Yeah. Well, I think Lee also picked England before, but he lost using it.
All right.
So
that's funny.
It was funny.
Yeah, well, one good thing is this tournament, it raised over $2 million that are going to go to benefit COVID research, or let's see. Mm-hmm. It's money for the COVID-19 Solidarity Response Fund. We'd have to look up exactly where that money goes, but something to do with the response.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, for everybody that got to see that was pretty fun. I think it was something cool where I saw a lot of people in the chat from all the supporters group. Everybody was trying to get shout outs. they didn't get any shout out. They didn't shout out to anybody except a couple people from different countries.
Right.
But yeah, it was fun, man. I mean, for a Saturday where there was nothing else to do, I was here in my house checking, looking outside, looking how beautiful it was, nice and sunny, and I was stuck indoors, just because, you know,
So so
I,
so Ed,
I was being responsible.
you haven't been going out at all?
Oh man, just to work and that's it.
Huh. I mean, I guess
So,
we're doing it wrong.
yeah.
Because we end up finding ourselves out, from time to time. Like yesterday, man, we didn't want to cook, and so we went to a restaurant. Obviously, just did the
Pickup.
they'll deliver it right to your car. And what's great is they put it in my back seat. They didn't.
Nice.
Yeah, it was nice. So it's like you got to I don't know. We still got to get out of the house. And it ended up in Target today because at some point you do have to kind of reload a little bit.
Yeah.
Because we didn't
And
hoard,
that's
so we got to reload.
one thing that I was thinking about doing today was maybe going to the store, but then I thought, it's the weekend, everybody's out. I mean, most people
No.
are not working anyway, but I figured I'll wait till Monday, till tomorrow, because some people are at work, and
Yeah.
I figure there'll be less people if I go tomorrow morning. As today, there might be more people out because it's Sunday.
Yeah,
I
I
don't know.
guess it depends on what store you go to. Target was empty. We were at Target and it was empty, and I had to find something for my daughter to do. Got her a book. Did a little bit of grocery shopping at the same time. You could do a little bit of everything there, right? But then
Right.
you drive by like a Walmart. We drove by a Walmart, packed. I mean, parking lot's packed. I'm sure Publix is the same way. So it
Right.
depends on where you go. I'll tell you, Target's empty.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good to know. People, if you want to go to Target, because yeah, most people think Walmart.
Yeah.
Go to Walmart or supermarkets. Publix is always going to be packed. I've driven by a couple of times. When I was on my way to work, and just to see how it looks, and it's packed. Most of the time they're packed. So I don't know if people are just like stocking up or
Right.
what. But I don't stock up, so I need to buy stuff tomorrow or the following day.
Yeah, agreed. And it sounds like some people in our chat are going through some tough times as well. It is that kind of that time where a lot of people are going through some tough times. This is a real challenge for everybody, but luckily the government did pass some bills, and hopefully it does trickle down to people and they get a little bit. But anyways, hey, one thing that Jason Weiss said is that going back to that tournament was that he would like to see a tournament. A fan tournament.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
Where-
Get a representative from each group or a couple of representatives and have them do a playoff or something.
If I get a little bit of what he's saying, like you have a fan tournament, and then the winners of that tournament can play the players of Inter Miami.
Have them play Pizarro since he's the champion of the team, I guess, right now.
Well, yeah, but you can have them play more than just Pizarro too.
Mm-hmm.
Have them play, a bunch of players. That'd be fun. Yeah. Everybody's stuck indoors. Let everybody, those that do have the gaming systems, have at it, and that'd be kind of a cool bragging thing. If some 14-year-old kid from Doral, beats Pizarro, how the bragging,
be awesome.
the bragging rights on that would be awesome.
Oh man, you'd never hear the end of it.
Yeah,
and that kid might become famous or whatever. But one of the things that I was bored yesterday, and some of the guys from the Southern Legion decided to do a Zoom, chat, and they're about like, dude, there was like I don't remember how many, like almost 30 people on that sucker. Yeah, and people are just, it does get a little chaotic, but once we got a little bit organized, we were able to, everybody's got to put mute because sometimes they'll leave the microphone on and it gets a little crazy because people just talk or they have the baby crying in the background.
Yeah.
So but it was fun, man, and people. From what I heard, I was on there for like 2 hours. But from what I heard, there were people that stayed on there. I think, what did we start? I think it was like at 8 p.m. And they went on till like 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
Just talking and singing. And, it was wild, man. So people want our team to be playing already, man. There's just that hunger for soccer, for Inter Miami, that, until the games start, they're going to start doing that. They're going to do that on Saturday. You're talking about. I don't know if they did it today. I haven't checked the chat rooms, but they may have done it today. Because it was a lot of fun and people like the cool things you could put like backgrounds, some real cool backgrounds. So one of the guys put on like an Orlando City background, and just to make everybody laugh. Like dude Pinocho, he's pretty funny.
Yeah.
So it's fun. People are trying to do stuff. I saw some of the other supporters groups are doing the same thing. Everybody's just hungry for soccer, for Inter Miami.
It's funny that the company Zoom. You said you were using Zoom. I never heard that name more than since this COVID-19 thing.
Yeah. And we probably shouldn't mention that because it's messing up with our algorithm.
I said it, and that's why you heard me go, oh.
Yeah. Yeah, because and a lot of people have been complaining on YouTube because of that.
Yeah,
because you say that and they kind of mess up with your algorithms or whatever, and then you can't monetize, etc. But not like we monetize that much anyway.
No, but every penny helps. But anyways, I use Zoom at work, but outside of my office, I had never heard of anybody using it. Now it's everywhere. Everybody. I mean, that company has grown exponentially just from this. I mean, I don't know much about them other than, like I said, we use it at work. But that's how we talk to clients and things like that. We do client calls using that program. But anyways,
it's cool. It's kind of cool. Sorry to interrupt you. It's kind of cool because I was used to just using WhatsApp and stuff like that, like to call my folks or whatever in different countries. But with that, you can. I said, dude, like 30 people were talking at the same time. If you put it on your computer, I was using my phone, but on your computer, you could basically see everybody and just click on the one that you want to watch.
Yep.
And it's so much fun, man.
Yep.
I recommend it for anybody that's bored, wants to talk to their family, everybody at the same time. Get on that sucker. Hopefully the Zoom people will call us up and sponsor us.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna pull up for everybody here. Everybody's looking at a blank screen right now, but I'm pulling up something that I talked about in our video, on our news video. Here we go. And Judge Dredd, I think it was, or was it Judge Dredd that was asking to talk about it? Yeah, Judge Dredd was asking to talk about this. The Inter Miami distancing logo.
Yeah.
What'd you think about it, Ed?
All right. Well, my first impression, Peter, and I think I mentioned it because we've got a little chat going on with Ricky Ricardo. I called him out as soon as I saw it. I was like, no, why did they do this? I was like, I thought it was insensitive at first. I was like, dude, it's just trying to, take advantage of the situation. I was like, no, man, they could have done other stuff to get attention. But as it went on, as time has gone on a little bit, I'm like, oh, okay, well, it kind of grew on me a little bit. I wasn't as hesitant and but talk about your impression, Peter. I know you're a little more concerned than I am.
Well, no, see, look, you guys might notice sometimes I may go off on an angle and stuff like that on one of our videos, and I believe it to some extent, but I might go a little far to get a reaction. Let's just say, I'm trying to get people to talk, right? But majority of what I said in the news is how I feel. That when I first saw it, I cracked up, and my thought is, am I laughing? Is my laughing really my hysterical laughing, thinking it's pretty funny? Is that really what they were going for? Because I don't think so. I don't think that's what they're going for. They're trying to be, hey, we're going to try to show people that we're all on board with the distancing and all that, and we're solidarity and all that kind of stuff, unity. We're all in this together.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, I cracked up. And so I just don't think that's the reaction they're looking for. And then when I started thinking about it a little bit more, and I also saw some other people's reactions online, some of them were just thinking how cheesy and silly it was, and that it just seems like a gimmick. And of all people, I've been asking for gimmicks. I love a gimmick.
Right.
That one just seemed a little like wrong time. Not that big a deal. I mean, I may have kind of on the video kind of made it sound like a bigger deal than it is. Not that big a deal. I mean, it's temporary. At the end of the day, who cares? But it just felt a little too cheesy, a little too gimmicky to do that. I don't know, but it seemed to work a little bit. It got picked up on ESPN. It got some buzz.
It did get some buzz, and that's one of the reasons that, after I think it grew on me, because it was like, all right, it's not that bad. I mean, people are starting to talk about it. That's what they wanted to do, I think.
Yeah.
And in the end, from the initial reactions, I think, it kind of like blew over, and all right, it's all right, They're the only ones that I think have actually done something like that, and then they had the logo to do it with, which was perfect.
But going back to what I said in the video, what would be more meaningful? A silly logo, or them coming out and saying, hey, we are paying all those people that were supposed to be at the games and that have been laid off, or just not so much laid off. If you're a game day employee, you're not laid off. You just don't have a gig, right? You're just, the word of the week, furloughed, right? So, you're not fired, but you ain't making any money. So, right. So what would have been better to come out and say, okay, you could put out the logo, but it would have been better and more meaningful to say, we're also going to back up all of our employees, all those that cannot work from home, right? Because if you're not an office employee, you ain't working from home, right? And or help the community. Hey, we're new to this community and we really care about, and to show that we care about this community, we're setting aside X amount of dollars to feed the kids or feed the people that have been out of work. All those long lines of for people to get food, but also the unemployment lines and stuff like that. Wherever people are congregated, hand out some bag lunches or something like that. I don't know. I just think that would have been.
People could drive up. They would have the little cafecito thing. That David Beckham could have been there with his cafecito. He learned how to do cafecito. Remember, I don't know if you saw that video a while back.
Yeah, I did. I saw that.
They can, be passing the cafecito to the people as they, do like a little drive-through or something. I don't know. I see what you're saying, Peter, and I think that, that would have been something cool. But at the same time, they're trying to keep the distance. Yeah. That whole keep your 6 foot distance type thing.
Well, okay, but yeah, you could do the distance. There's all these other companies and things I've seen where some of them are cities, but there's been some companies that have stepped up and said, hey, we're going to have a drive-through. You bring your car, we're going to fill it with groceries. I saw it all over the news. A lot of it was community-related things, but you could fund one of those. I mean, you don't have to actually physically do it. You could fund it, right?
Right.
And what people are doing is they're waiting in line, they're driving up, they pop their trunk, and the food gets put in their trunk and nobody touches anything. I think that has a lot more substance and meaning than a logo.
Right. But, there's still time to do that because the way it looks, people are going to be at home for a while, working from home. And, unfortunately, people are losing their jobs. So it really is a mad world right now.
Yeah, and right now you got to be fortunate if you can work from home. Like right now, I feel extremely blessed that I am able to work from home. Luckily, my company, we had already been, it was a benefit that we could work from home every Tuesday and Thursday. So we were already doing it just because it's a nice benefit that my company provides. So we were already set up. Now it's just like, it's not just 2 days a week, it's every day. And we've been doing it now for about 3 weeks. So, I'm pretty fortunate, but there's so many people, and I think some of our friends in here. I think Eric was saying something about his electrician coworkers or stuff like that. They're not getting paid, they're not working, or they have to stay home or something like that. I'd have to scroll back and see it, but because somebody tested positive, so they all have to bail out, and so it's really hurting a lot of people. But anyways, let's see if we can entertain a little bit. If you guys want to direct the conversation in a different direction, please do so.
And the number, what was it again, Peter? 786-474?
786-474-4435. It's on the screen.
All right.
Having said that, you want to go to one of the calls?
Hey, let's do it.
All right, let me pull up.
There's actually some cool questions on the chat, but let's go with the with one of the voicemails. And like you said, like Peter said, guys, you can call up and leave us a message right now.
And we could go we could go back and forth. We could go back and forth. We could take a voicemail, then go to the chat. Whatever. All right. Here's the first one that I got. And let me click play.
Hey, Peter. Hey, Uncle Ed. How are you guys? Hey, I was wondering, did Uncle Ed, does he listen to the local hour of the Dan Le Batard show? They were actually, they were saying his name, and he was part of, the Southern Legion and part of, the original who were created. Just wondering if Uncle Ed knew that. Mike Ryan was saying his name. And also, my hot take will be, we got Diego Alonso from Uruguay, got Cavani, and maybe Suarez. What do you think? Thank you, guys.
Pretty cool.
Ed, you're famous. Cool. It sounds like
Mike Ryan. We do follow him. I do follow him. Unfortunately, I've been, busy. I've been working. Fortunately, thank God, I've been working, so I haven't had much time to listen to Le Batard or anybody, to tell you the truth. But I'm gonna definitely listen back at some of the shows that they've had and see which one exactly it was. And if you could tell me what day it was, I'll definitely check it out. One day, somebody did mention, it may have been him, mentioned to me that they talked about Inter Miami and somebody had spoken about us. And with the Southern Legion, they always remember us because we're the old guys. We're the guys.
The originals.
Yeah, so we kind of started the whole thing. So a lot of people have been reaching out to me for interviews and stuff.
Cool.
And it's kind of cool, man.
Yeah.
I remember when we first came out, when we did the first presentation of the team. How many years ago? 7, 8 years ago. And when that happened, people actually would see me on the street and say, "Hey, you're Beckham's friend." I'll be like, "Oh yeah, sure, yeah." And I got free beer and stuff, man. I got a bottle of wine one time too.
Nice.
They thought I was famous or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're in all the pictures, right?
Yeah. So it kind of worked out.
All right. So he was also talking about some DPs. That's the thing that everybody still, we're hoping for these big name DPs. Who do you think?
Oh man, and that's an idea for another video, Peter. There you go. We were thinking about things to make videos about because we don't have any ideas. I already did a couple of reviews. I did the Inter Miami app review. You guys can check that out a couple weeks ago. And then I did the MLS review of their app. That one didn't go too well because I guess people were like, whatever, that app doesn't matter. Because everybody's about Inter Miami, man. That's the thing. Everybody's about Inter Miami. So the MLS app, nobody really cared about. But yeah, we're looking for things to make videos about, guys. So that's another thing you guys could do. Call us up on that number. You can call us up at any time, 786-474-4435. You can call us tomorrow, any time that you guys want. Call, leave us a message, tell us, guys, we want you guys to do a video on, I don't know, Disney World, because Peter loves Disney World, or something, Peter would love to do that. Something on Minnie Mouse, dude, that's right up your alley.
Minnie? I don't know about Minnie, but, I could do Disney talk all day.
Well, there's, let's start talking about, we kind of went on a little tangent there, but let's talk about the players that we think will come to Inter Miami. We do know that there's 2 positions that are still available. Right. There's numbers available for those 2 positions. There's the number 8 and the number 9, which are still vacant. We heard that one of the players was coming, but then this whole thing happened, and I don't know if he's still coming, Peter. That was the Argentinian kid from Boca Juniors, I believe.
I mean, if it's all but signed, why not? It's just now there's nothing happening because we're the whole world is on lockdown.
Yeah, but the thing that's happening now is that since everybody stopped, they haven't changed the dates on the transfer windows and all that. So it kind of might work out for us.
Yeah, we talked about that last week, how it could benefit us if the windows don't change. We end up getting the player for longer. Now, something else, let's go off on a tangent, is something that was being talked about in the chat a little bit is when do we think MLS season will come back? And I think we still got a ways. But and just to give you an idea, if going back to Disney, which is relevant in that there's a large group of people. going to a single destination. And the rumors around that are people are thinking they're not going to open potentially till around June. Wow. So if we're talking about something like that opening around June, where does that leave our sports, right? So is it happening around the same time, or are they going to do what some of the talk is that maybe the EPL is going to come back and do closed door matches? So is that what they're going to do? Maybe have some MLS games that are closed doors, which, that stinks that we're not getting to physically go to the games, but at least we have it on TV.
Right.
And if that happens, maybe we're playing a little sooner. And, that all plays into when do we get a new player and where they're coming from. I mean, that all it's so fluid and nobody knows anything. Everybody wants to know when we're going to play. When's this going to open? When's that going to open? And nobody knows because, we're in uncharted territory.
Well, one of the guys was mentioning on the chat that the English Premier League seems like they've already canceled it.
Really? I didn't know that. I thought they were playing closed doors. I thought they were going to play closed doors matches.
I think something like that, but gosh, I missed it. Well, who was it? Judge Dredd was saying that David would hate Liverpool to win because Liverpool right now they were number one. But it wouldn't be fair for Liverpool fans who waited 30 years for it.
Right.
If they canceled the season. I mean, they've already played this long. What do they do? Do they do some playoff system, something different? That's tough, man. That's a tough call right there. They've already played, half of the season.
Right.
What do they do now?
Well, I mean, in England, when it's a single game, single table thing, you could just say we're done, and whoever's in first wins. I mean, you could definitely do that. It's a little harder with MLS when only 2 games have been played, so we got to figure something out, right? But another interesting thing is that NPSL did announce that they just canceled the season. Now that's a much lower level, but that's something actually I had kind of marked to bring up was that what are the financial impact on teams around the world with this epidemic that's going on?
Oh wow, man, it's tough because all these small teams have smaller budgets. How are they going to survive?
Right.
That's one thing that's going to hurt U.S. soccer, well, world soccer, and everything in the world. A lot of these teams might not survive till next year. They cancel the whole year. Well, it's tough, and sponsorships and all that. The sponsors are going to be kind of happy because they don't have to fork over the money.
Well, but, okay, yeah, but the teams, and that's actually where I wanted to go with this, is I don't think this affects, let's stay in MLS, I don't think this affects any of the MLS teams. I think all the owners have deep enough pockets. I think they're okay. It could affect some USL championship teams, not your Sacramentos and your bigger clubs, and St. Louis maybe is good. And, some of the, maybe Tampa Bay, since they're well funded with the Rays and things like that, they may be fine. But you may have clubs, and I don't know all the clubs in the USL since our team doesn't play there anymore. But even in the NPSL, so it came up to me in my field of vision because of Boca Raton Football Club. These guys right here. Friends with these guys. Good guys that own that little club. It's a little club that brings in a lot of college players, and so their advertising money is how they run the club. It's not making money. I mean, they're lucky if they have 200 people in the stands, right? A good day is 50 people, really. So they're not making money on concessions or anything like that. They're 100%, funded by their sponsors. And right now, a lot of their sponsors are like restaurants and things like that, and they're not going to sponsor anybody because they're not bringing in any money. So what somebody like Boca Raton Football Club is having to do is they're reaching out to people and saying, and I think I was looking for it. Here it is. You could become a supporter of the team for $9.99 a month. So at $9.99 a month, you'll get with your donation, you'll receive exclusive Boca Raton jersey, season tickets, and for the entire season. Well, that's why it's called season tickets. If they end up playing some games in parks, which are free to get to, you'll have some special seating away from the general admission, away from the peons. But that will be the way you support the club. And for that, just to share that information, it's patreon.com at Boca Raton FC. So clubs at a lower level, they're having to reach out and say, will you as a fan, will you as somebody that supports soccer, will you support the lower level clubs and lift them up? It's an interesting thing that, they're in a situation where if they don't have people step up, they could be out of business.
Yeah, it's tough. To Eric Thomas just put that in Italy, the players are taking pay cuts for March, April, and May.
Mm-hmm.
So, a lot of teams have to start doing stuff like that, man. Well, in this case, these amateur teams, they don't, in most of the cases, don't pay their players, but they got to start doing stuff like that. Trying to save. Our owners have money, but they already took a big hit with the stadium,
sure,
with everything. I mean, they made some money back with the season tickets, I guess, but and some jersey sales, but it's a business. They need to do stuff to generate funds.
Yeah, absolutely.
And right now, they're not.
But like I said, I think the MLS teams have deep enough pockets to withstand this. I think they'll be fine. I am concerned more for our local clubs, our little clubs. Like your Miami Uniteds. And I know a lot of our listeners or viewers may not care about those little clubs, but I know you and I, Ed, we definitely do.
Right.
We've become friends with several of the owners of these clubs. We're very close with Miami United, and I know Miami FC well, and Miami FC's got deep enough pockets where they should withstand this too, unless the owner just says I've had enough. But right. Ricardo Silva's got deep enough pockets to withstand this, I think. Those smaller clubs. Curious what happens to them, because it's just think about small business, and that's why I'm saying go support Caneswear. They're a small businesses, small restaurants, small bars, small clubs. They're all struggling right now, and they all need our support.
Everybody, there's a lot of companies, a lot of small companies, like you're saying, that they really need help because they're not going to get help. It looks for a little while. So whatever we can do to support these people would be great, if we could do it too. A lot of us are hurting for money as well.
Yeah.
But let's get back on track. We're talking about a little bit about the DPs. Who do we think would come? And one of the people that a lot of people have mentioned on the chat room that I've talked to, there's a lot of Colombians in Miami. Falcao is the name that everybody's talking about. But he's got a 3-year contract with Galatasaray. So that could be a problem. It's a 3-year contract. And he just started in September 2019. So they'd have to buy him out. The reason he would be perfect is because he would sell jerseys. And right now, I think that's what they need. They need to make some dinero, he would work out. Cavani, they've talked about Suarez as well. They're from Uruguay, small country, but they're famous, so they might sell jerseys as well. But I just think if they want to market the team well, they might want to go with Falcao, because I think he's, he comes from a bigger country with a bigger population, and the population here is, compared to Uruguay, which is only I think 3 million, almost 4 million people. And Colombia, I don't know how many million. I think there are almost 50 million of them, something like that. So there's a lot more jerseys to be sold.
Yeah, absolutely. I got sidetracked, Ed, because there was conversations in the chat about what I'm wearing, and my biggest fan has got my back once again, Judge Dredd. Just saying, I heard you, but then I got sidetracked because
I saw you smiling there. I was like, what? I'm not saying nothing's funny.
No, but it was okay because nobody saw me yet. They were all looking at you, so I could do whatever I want. Only you could see what I was doing.
Okay. So it worked out. Well, those are the 3 people that I think the team could go for, being at Falcao. which I think is the best candidate just because he sold the jerseys, like I was saying. And there's Cavani and Suarez. They basically play the same position, or could play the same position. That number 9 that we need. We should maybe do like a top 5, but those are my top 3 picks right there.
All right, yeah, we'd have to study up on that. Hey, let's go to another voicemail as we've got 15 minutes left in this. You were concerned we wouldn't have enough to talk about, dude.
Yeah,
we could talk. We could talk.
You talk a lot, man. Talk a lot.
All right, here we go. Here's another voicemail, folks.
Hey, it's Marta of the Aficionados, Italia, I should say, a.k.a. One World, One Goal. Thank you so much for the shout-out of the Miami FC jersey for Diego Serna 17. He says hello to everybody, and we hope that we have that Fusion reunion maybe in the fall and definitely next year. Hard to believe it'll be the 20-year anniversary of winning the Supporters' Shield. And I hope everybody's staying safe and not going too stir crazy. I hear that the UK is basically no travel until at least like June. So thoughts about if we were to reopen, we can't reopen without Beckham. But, we have to stay safe. It is a nasty, wicked flu. I was out like 3 weeks, but I'm feeling better and hope you guys are doing good too. Keep up the great work. Is this the best show on YouTube? Discuss. Love ya. Thanks.
Wait, she's asking us to discuss if our show is the best show? I mean,
come on.
I'm kind of,
We had a little bias there.
I'm a little biased. Hey, I'm glad, Martha, you're feeling better, and stay safe, stay clean, wash those hands, and stay indoors. Don't do it like I'm doing.
Right. Don't do like Peter going out there and being a rebel.
Hey, speaking of going out, though, there will not be a construction video tomorrow because I did not go out and do that.
Oh, man, but you were out and about.
Yeah, but 2 reasons. One, I was trying not to go out. This happened late, the going out to get some food and stuff like that. That happened late. And then the other reason being that I didn't think I'd see anything different because it's, I know they've got a skeleton crew there, and I know they laid down some like a nice carpeting area with a nice logo on it, but that's not in an area that I can get to, right? So I saw some pictures of that. That's not anywhere I can go. So I just didn't think there would be anything that we would see. So,
but the parking, man, you got called out in the parking, dude. You went to the wrong parking lot.
I know. Well, I did have a disclaimer in that if I got this right, and I didn't, apparently. But that's okay. I tried, folks.
It happens,
But
But you were close.
It's just right there. I mean, just literally across not even across a big street. I mean, it's just 5 feet away.
So. Well, next time, okay, there's not going to be a video tomorrow, but maybe next week you can make up for it.
Maybe next week there'll be something to see because that with so few people there, whatever they're working on is really the little details on the inside and stuff like that. There's nothing really that to show from the outside from what I've seen. But yeah, I'll give it a shot. Maybe I'll try something during the week or something like that. But yeah, there's no nothing. But anyway, and one thing that Martha said that'd be fun to see is a Miami Fusion reunion. That'd be amazing, right? I mean, we see a couple. I've seen a couple of those guys. Jim Rooney and Ian Bishop. I've gotten to, I see those guys from time to time. Jim Rooney is the coach of these guys. So I do see Jim Rooney from time to time. But that'd be really, really cool. And you've got one of the players that's now coaching Miami FC. So,
And Ray Hudson's part of this team. That's something we almost forgot to talk about.
Yeah, I wish I had loaded up that image, but I did not.
Well, I've got it. I pulled it up right now. Unfortunately, I can't show it to you guys because I'd have to move the computer around. But yeah, they announced a magisterial team of personalities that are, that they're going to be the guys behind the cameras. And I'm pretty excited because there's at least 2 of them that everybody knows.
Right.
We've got 2 of the people that, may not be that well known as Andres Cordero. I think he worked with Gold TV, I think, and some other, and BN Sports, I think.
Mm-hmm.
You were mentioning that most of these people came from BN Sports.
Yeah, they just rated BN Sports.
That's what happened. I wonder what the arrangement is, because I don't know if they're going to do this full time, but well, Andres Cordero comes from there. We've got Kaylin Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I've seen her before. Where did I see her from? Well, she used to play with Canada. She was in the Women's World Cup with Canada, and she also has been with BN Sports.
There we go. I got the image up for everybody. Now you can see, yeah, she's the blonde there next to our buddy Fernando
Fiore. He's the other guy that, I'm very excited that he's in there, because we've known him for so many years. He's very charismatic, and
such
he's got
a good
great
guy.
ideas. He's going to come out with some stuff that I think is going to get people more involved.
Yeah.
That's going to keep us busy, hopefully, especially now that there's not much going on. I think he's gonna do a good job with keeping all the fans entertained more than anything. And of course, Ray Hudson.
Yeah.
Talk about, he's the coach of Miami Fusion back in 2001. There's a guy that could start that game, that make a couple of phone calls and get us a little game with all these veterans.
Yeah, but more importantly than the Fusion, I mean, he was a rock star legend with the Fort Lauderdale Strikers. I grew up watching Ray Hudson. I remember at the end of his career, he would just yell and scream at all the players because they just weren't good enough. They weren't at the level that he was at. And he would yell and scream at the players that they were, getting frustrated with them and stuff. But, I mean, and you know what the interesting thing is? This was announced, I think it was also on MLSsoccer.com, this announcement. They had comments in there. And a lot of the comments, people were like, they didn't like him. And I didn't understand that. There's a lot of people that I guess aren't from South Florida that they just think he's overrated, he's silly or whatever. But that silliness makes it entertaining. And that's the one thing about Ray Hudson. He knows that sports is entertainment. And he brings it. He is so much fun to listen to watch. Talk about those Miami Fusion press conferences after the Fusion games. They were insane.
They were so much fun, man. Sometimes I'd stay after the games to watch it, because it was in this big inflatable tent, it looked like, where they'd have those press conferences.
Yeah.
Or you could hear it on the way back to Miami, because I used to go all the way up there to Fort Lauderdale to watch the games. And on the way back, you'd listen to it. So I'd just turn it on. I'd be cracking up with my dad, listening to everything that he said. And my dad, he sometimes wouldn't understand what he was saying, because he's got that, that accent from Newcastle. That's,
great.
So he's a character, and I'm excited to see what they come up with, because they've got, we mentioned Fernando Fiore also. He does English and Spanish. Yeah. So we're basically covered as far as which language they're gonna cover in English and Spanish.
But
we've got Andres Cordero also speaks Spanish.
Okay.
So I think we're covered.
Okay, so let's go through this a little bit. Let me pull that picture up again. Who's doing what? Right. So they're also saying that these are our media. I mean, I think they're going to be using them for social media as well. I forgot the exact wording that they used. I don't think they called them broadcast team. I think that's what we're calling them. But
but they could do that.
They're
I'm trying to pull up what the description is, because I picked up. I only pulled up the pictures. Let me see if I.
Yeah, there's a lot more pictures than. Well, anyways, I saw something on. Anyways, my question is, who does what? So Ray clearly is color. So who's doing play-by-play with Ray? Because generally, I would think Fernando is color, right?
Right. He'd probably do it in Spanish.
And I would think
maybe Andres Cordero would do it.
Okay, but my question then is also this. And forgive me, I forgot her name already. What is the
Caitlin?
Caitlin. So Caitlin is a former player. Former players normally do what? Color.
Yeah.
So
maybe she's going to be the one that's going to be on in the field. She's going to be the one interviewing. I would imagine that's what she would do. Fernando could do the same thing. There's only 4 of them now.
Right. So that's my point. Is I assume you have 2 of these guys doing the Spanish broadcast and 2 of them doing the English broadcast. And if I go with that, is Caitlin a play-by-play caller? Maybe she is, and I just don't know. I'd never heard of her before this, right. So I don't know. But it's got me curious, or is there more people to come? I don't know. Just something I thought about is who's doing what.
Now that you're mentioning it, they probably would have to have other people, join because there's not enough. 4 of them, those 4 people aren't enough.
Yeah, I mean, you could have those. Those 4 can do the English broadcast, right? You could have Caitlin on the field doing field reporting, or Fernando on the field doing field reporting, where the other 2 are then in the studio doing play-by-play in color, and then maybe that other person, if you're having Fernando on the field, and then you put maybe Caitlin in the studio as beforehand. I don't know, but to me it seems like that's one crew,
right? Yeah, and that's now that you got me thinking, you have a point, Peter.
That's what I'm here for, Ed.
Probably have to join. Yeah,
that's
more people are probably gonna have to join in because. And they're also mentioning that CBS is going to do the local broadcasting.
Did they mention that?
No, well, somebody mentioned it. It came out on SBI,
right?
Soccer by Ives. They mentioned it. It wasn't announced, and that's another thing that we talked about last week.
Not announcing stuff.
There's sponsors that Peter found Lexus, and somebody else
found Publix. I just grabbed it. Yeah,
and they got all the all the buzz, but you were the one that found it. I mean, why don't they announce these things? What's the secrecy?
I agree with Eric Thomas. Ramses Sandoval would be a great play-by-play. I've heard him do it. I mean, he does a lot of times he's done the English version on Univision, right? I heard him, and he was there. Wasn't he the guy that was there at the announcement?
Yeah, he sure was.
Yeah.
He was the guy that was doing the announcement. The when they first announced the team. Ramses Sandoval could do it in English and Spanish.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
That's what they need. Get a couple people that could do in both languages, like Fernando Fierro could do it in English and Spanish. They need a couple more people to add on to that group, and I think we'll be set.
All right, we got to move on, Ed.
The CBS thing. Yeah, the CBS thing, why don't they announce these things?
I don't know.
Why do we have to find out from other people?
Maybe it's just not fully signed. I don't know.
And then we find out these things, but we don't mention it because we don't want to, but other people mention it. So I'm just like,
look,
we could have had the exclusive.
You've just, that's my biggest issue with the media, whatever we are, because we hear stuff, but every time we hear stuff, somebody tells us, you can't say anything. Then somebody else goes and says it. I'm like, come on.
Right.
I knew,
right,
but I couldn't say anything for months.
Right. So
yeah, whatever.
Hey,
who cares? At the end of the day, who cares? But all right, Ed, we're running late again. We had nothing to talk about at the beginning of the show because we got no soccer, but we're gonna run late. Let's go to another voicemail.
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. Let's go get this one up.
Pete and Ed, why did it seem that soccer is losing all the athletes to football, baseball, and basketball in general here in the U.S.? Do you think it's because the salaries are not that high, or the grassroots of soccer is not as deep here in the U.S. compared to Europe or South America or Central America? Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's it, right? As money. It all boils down to money.
It's all about the dead president. He didn't mention his name, did he?
No.
Oh, man. Guys, I remember to leave your name so we could at least,
call you out. Shout you out.
Shout you out, guys. Yeah. Thanks for calling in. And like Peter was saying, I think it's, it's all about the
money,
loot.
Yeah, no, it's look, if for soccer, hey, it's come a long way from where it was. Soccer forever has been something you do as a kid, and then you grow up and you do something else, or you do it up until a point till you choose a real sport, right? A sport that pays. So and that's been the deal for
real sport.
Well,
that's how it used to be.
I mean, that's how it used to be. And now it's gotten a lot better with all these academies and all that stuff. And now MLS is starting to pay a little bit more. But also, it's not only that, I think it's the reach. So, and that's what these new academies are trying to fix a little bit, is that, you know, it's always been known as a sport for the wealthy, right? Because soccer, it shouldn't be expensive because all it takes is balls, cleats, and shin guards or something. That's pretty much it. But it's always been, those travel costs are really, really high. And so, it's always been kind of like, the people in Weston can go. And that's why Weston has such a good program, because the people there have got cash, right? Weston's a well-funded neighborhood. Right. So, it's reaching in, where football and basketball do a really good job is reaching into that inner city and giving those kids a way out of maybe their current situation. And MLS is doing that. They're working on that. They're growing into that. I know I've seen some things on MLSsoccer.com, some videos that they've put out where, they're building soccer fields and things like that in the inner city. And that's something Miami needs to get to eventually. I mean, they got a lot of things on their plate, but eventually get to that. But for now, they definitely need to, these other clubs, like New York City builds like 5-on-5 fields in the inner city. And so to reach out to those kids. So I think that's a big part of it, is our scouting hasn't reached out into those inner cities as much as these other sports. That and the old Benjamins.
Oh yeah. But yeah, Peter, gosh, man, I'm seeing a lot of conversation going on in the chat. People talking about, One World, One Sport is talking about the Fusion reunion.
Yeah, naming
all the players. That's some fun stuff.
Well, if you're talking about Fusion reunion, you got to think about like who's local, who's here already, and go after those guys. The guys that are not local, it's a little. We're not going to get. I doubt they're going to get people to fly in, right? Unless this is funded that we just don't know about. Maybe One World, One Sports is doing something we don't know about. But those that are local, at least, and there's a handful.
It could work out. There are quite a few people that are still around, so it might work out. Bish is still around. I've heard that. Who else was around? There's a couple other players that could probably make a game that'll work out just fine. But,
well, I don't know about playing a game. I think everybody just wants to show up and hang out in a bar, right? Is the idea to play a game?
Yeah, or hang out at the bar. I'm okay with that. There's a Hanneken bar right there, if we could ever get there. But there's other places that, maybe, that's one of the things that Peter and I were talking about, maybe doing this show at a bar.
Oh, yeah. We could do that now.
That'd be kind of fun. Yeah. We'll be able to do that, and we'll try to get some of these players as guests, which is, something we could do during this week, Peter. Maybe we'll line up somebody for next week.
Yeah, let's try that. And yeah, as far as doing it in a bar, I'm curious if we were to do a show like in a place, in a bar or something like that, would people show up? I'm curious.
Well, I guess we could try doing once, and if it doesn't work out, if there's only 3 of us there, then we won't do it again. But we can try doing it.
We now have the equipment to do it. That's what some of this stuff that we're using now. We definitely now have the equipment to do that. So that'd be fun to see if
we could do something, we can pull it off. I think we could pull it off. And there's a couple different bars in Fort Lauderdale down here in Miami as well that I think would be okay with it.
Something I wanted to mention. I see Eric's response. He says he disagrees with me on MLS's outreach to the inner city. I was saying I think they're getting better. Clearly, they got a long way to go. But he's saying when I say inner city, I should just go ahead and say African American community. MLS has a long way to go. Well, I mean, I don't want to say only African American because I don't know if they're really reaching into the lower income Latino communities either. So that's the real question. And so to me, it's not just African American, but that is a big part of it for sure. But I think they're making baby steps in that direction. That's all.
Well, I'm hopefully the team keeps doing what they're doing. This will give them time to also think about.
Well, I don't know about our team doing anything yet. I mean, I don't know if they're that far along. Inter Miami's got other things they need to worry about first. They've got to just get launched, right? They played two games, but they're still not fully launched. The stadium's not open. We're not fully launched. I think that's the kind of stuff they could worry about in year 2, 3, and so on. But these more established clubs that have been playing for 20 years or more, that's something that they should have definitely, they should be further along than they are.
Okay.
Anyways, hey, we've got one more voicemail I think we should get to. Thanks, everybody, for sending these in.
Hi, my name is John David. I just want to know, when do you guys think the Inter Miami season will start? Because I want to see some soccer.
Yeah, no, of course. We touched on this a little bit. I think, it's so hard to tell because none of us know anything really about this disease and how long it's going to take. And we keep saying April or the 8 weeks, but then things just keep getting extended a little bit longer and a little bit longer. And when is it really safe for people to get together? And that's really what it matters. And so to me, I got a feeling maybe the players can start training sometime in May. What do you think, Ed? May, maybe start training
in May and play maybe the first days of June is what I'm thinking.
Maybe, or late May at the earliest.
Because we don't want to, come back too early and then there could be like a resurgence of this, of this disease or whatever. And no, I think we need to hold back a little bit. I know everybody's anxious. I'm anxious to get out of my house as well, but we want to make sure that this thing, takes its path, that it's finally killed, and that we can start our MLS, quest for the championship. Hopefully, I would say June. That would be my prediction.
I got a feeling you're right, and keep in mind that June stuff could be closed doors.
They got to make sure that that nobody, that this doesn't come back,
Yeah.
I'd say we need to be sure people, continue doing what they're doing. It sucks, but, it's a mad world we live in.
It's a mad, mad world.
All right, Peter. Well, guys, Peter did not do stadium construction video, so please let him know in the comments. Peter, come on, man.
There wasn't anything to see. Come on.
Hopefully next week he'll do it because he's got to make up and show us where the correct parking is at. So that'll be hopefully next week. I
could show you that from Google Maps if you really want me to. I don't have to leave the house for that.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. What else do we have? We've got a Spanish video coming up. We've got a news one coming up. So there'll be videos.
Also, I want to mention we're going to go live on Instagram with Caneswear on Tuesday. So look for us to go live in Instagram Tuesday at 7 p.m. That's the goal. And they're going to show us around the store, a little bit. And we're going to have a conversation with one of the guys from Caneswear. So we're going to do that on Instagram, though. So we're still trying to figure that out because, I don't know anything about Instagram. But...
But I leave that to Ed. It'll be something different to do, and we'll definitely be putting that on all social media. So keep an eye for that on Tuesday. What time do you think it's going to be at, Peter?
7 p.m.
7 p.m. So keep your eyes out for that. We're going to promote tomorrow and Tuesday, so you guys don't miss that on Instagram Live.
Also, I have another idea. I was thinking, Ed, and nothing like letting you know live, right? That I was thinking of possibly doing another live on like Wednesday or Thursday or something like that. Just a short one where I have an idea. I have a topic, which is kind of ripping off sports channels forever, and now MLS soccer.com did one, and it brought it to my mind again. But it is the Mount Rushmore of South Florida soccer. So I thought that'd be a fun little thing, and I know, Ed, you may be working at that time or something like that. So we could go live and just talk about, for like a short video of what our build our Mount Rushmore for South Florida soccer icons, right? Who would we put up on that Mount Rushmore, chisel into the stone for South Florida? I don't want your answers now, but I'm thinking about doing something live. I think that could be kind of fun, something to do while we're all stuck at home.
Exactly. That sounds a lot of fun, Peter. You do that.
All right, I'll do that. And that'll be like Wednesday or Thursday. We'll see kind of when the other videos are coming out throughout the week. So we'll still try to keep some content coming for you guys, even though there isn't anything new. There's no soccer being played, but we'll try to get creative to have some fun with you guys. So make sure to if you haven't liked or click that bell icon, so that anytime we go live, you'll be notified if you click the bell icon. So click that, and if we choose to go live at any moment, like Ed did when he was in Los Angeles, things like that, anytime we go live, you'll be notified. So, and you could join in and have fun with us while you're stuck at home.
And you could call anytime on our hotline, on our voicemail. Leave us a message anytime. If you're just sitting around and something pops into your brain, call us up.
Anytime.
Leave a message. Yeah, and we could do a show if you think you have a good idea of what we could do a video about. Leave your ideas, and we'll say that you're the one that told us to do that.
Yeah. There's that, and also if you're just depressed and bored and you want to vent, do it.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for playing along today and having some fun with you. Stay safe. Everybody, stay away from the old people. we need them around. That's our history right there. So everybody stay indoors, stay safe, work from home if possible. And we will see you throughout the week. Make sure to stay tuned for whatever we may put out. And we really appreciate everybody for tuning in. Make sure to go to caneswear.com and use code FMTV for save 10%. All right, see you guys later.